Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever it is, wherever you're from. We have a special treat for you guys this evening. We have not this stupid shit. Nobody plays that. We have Josh, aka the Barber, one of the VSA OGs, the man, the myth, the legend. He has been asked repeatedly about his updated U7 list, so we decided to bring him in on here tonight and see if we can get that going for you guys. Now, I'm gonna send it right over to him.
Deck for a while. It's the Goku U7 deck that came out in, what was this, 17? 16.
16, yeah.
Yeah, it's on the front side. You can't warp cards. It's just a permanent the leader has. You attack, draw a card on the front side. You have an ability to burst 3, draw 1, discard 1. Filters out kind of the whole idea of the deck to make it run right. Your awaken condition is when you have 7 U7 and the drop or 4 less life, you flip it over, stand 1, draw 1. And same permanent on the other side, can't warp cards, so you can't like use Overrealm, which kind of sucks. Activate main, same thing, except you draw 1 this time, then you can choose to burst. Most of the time now in this format, you're probably just gonna burst till you have enough cards to like get your whatever you need off, like whatever if you need 20 in the drop to get a card back, or if you need a certain amount just to do what you need to do. I stop usually milling when I hit about 15 to 17 cards. It's really not that necessary. But yeah, so you do have the ability to grab any U7 cards. Pretty nice. So let's get into the deck. 2 Violent Rays. This card is a staple in this meta right now. If you're not running this card, you're going to lose to decks like Gogeta, Sin, and pretty much everything else. Everything hits for 20k about now, so this card I might actually just up to 3. But I feel like in this deck you have so much different ways of distracting your opponent, and like the life total is so high when you awaken, you don't really have to rely on this too much until you're like in trouble, as I call it. So yeah, you just pitch a card, negate the attack, and you can either call battle cards or unisons that are 20k or higher. Really good against like Gogeta and Sin right now, because everything they swing with is 20k. Free negate. This is like your early negates if you need to. After image is going to put your leader at 40k or whatever the heck you're going to guard at 40k higher, so they're not going to be able to punch through, and it's free as long as you have Sparking 5. I like it at 2 just because if you need it, you need it. This deck's it's pretty aggressive, so you don't really need to have a whole lot of defense. I still run 2 tests in the app. I think this card's still pretty good. If you're in a pinch and you don't have any energy and you don't have like after image, or after image can't save you from that turn, sometimes testing the app is really good. I'm kind of tossed on this card in this meta just because there's so much red, and red just kind of negs things on play. So I'm still kind of thinking about that. The new addition to this deck that everybody's kind of asked me what I changed about it. I went back to a 2-drop unison package. I think the 2-drop unison is the way the deck wants to run. And I feel like if you even wanted to, you could add like the 1-of Piccolo. I even thought of that just to get like the later game draw. But I feel like Gogeta sticks on the board so well that your opponent either has to deal with him, or they just let him stay there, and you're going to be able to play free 1-drops the whole game, generating more cards in the hand. And you also get the ability to -4 to give him double strike, and I believe it's 15k. Yeah, so he becomes a 30k double strike, and that's activate battle, which is pretty nice if you need to use it for like an end game kind of thing. Yamcha is terrible in this format, so I'm running 2 just in case people have like a testing the app or any type of blocker negate, or if I'm going up against any type of deck that runs anything that doesn't have deflect, which is pretty rare nowadays, or barrier, which is pretty rare nowadays. But I think Yamcha is still able to be run at 2 and be fine. He just is a counterplay, neg 2 things 15. You got to run into 1 new ruler, because new ruler goes with the unison package of anything. Basically a 20k double strike that can be blocked. One of the best cards in red, period. I run the trio beside it because Gogeta's got a cool little effect where you can -4. So if you get him to 4 markers and you want to just throw some really early aggression, you can pop this under him, -4, and he's still got the marker from this. So pretty nice little thing to add and keep your unison safe this format, because there's a lot of unison hate. 2 Broly Crown, you can free play this off Gogeta. This deck actually was relying on this card, and you would have to hardcast it every other time. And now, if you're in a match, you're just like, oh, I got Broly Crown. Let me just reveal it, or actually just plus on this. Then it's a win of 1. Then if they have a response, you can just hold your Broly Crown. If they don't have a response, you can just play it for free. Really, really solid card. And I like U7 because you can run it at 60 cards, so you can get more utility out of your deck card-wise. You might not see everything every game, but you're going to know that you have certain things in your deck that you don't have to rely on a sideboard for. Like the Gogeta deck, man, there's so many cards in that deck where it's just you have to have a huge package, and you can't run as much of this stuff because you have to keep it at like 54 to 56 cards max. But I still like Resolve Renewed as well. This card is really good against yellow, really good against gamma, really good against anything that has got like one of those little like floodgate cards that are a battle card. So I feel like Resolve Renewed, it's in my sideboard for my other red decks just because there's not room for it. But at the same time, like I said, this deck runs 60 cards, so why not throw it in the main? You have all the sorts of options. This is like a really good best of 1 deck. Like if you're going to a best of 1 event and they don't have sideboard, this deck literally has everything you need in the deck. So let's just get into the meat and potatoes of the deck now. You got your 4 super combo Friezas. This is a Sparking 5 super combo. It's probably going to be a staple for a while until they create another Sparking 5 super combo. But yeah, you can grab it back with your leader, which is also really cool. You got 20 in the drop, and so you got Vegeta in hand or everything you need in hand, you can just grab another super combo. So technically, this deck can play like, I guess, 5 super combos if you think about it, but you're going to burst a lot too, so you might not see all of them, which is why I'm going to get into the next couple of cards where this is where I kind of pushed the deck in a way to be a little more defensive in this meta, because I feel like everything's either swinging 20k or every deck has like a Sensu Bean effect. So we run extra super combos. So we got the Kai super combos. Shout out Risi, he was the one that created this. It's just a good last resort. Like if they think they can go all in on you and you got, 3 or 4 super combos in hand, it's pretty hard. You have to have 5 or less in hand, which is fine because you're going to use these at the end of the game anyways. The only bad thing about this card is you can't charge it. I run the Gohans now because this is also kind of like a pseudo super combo to protect your leader. They have to kill you at some point in the game. Why not have 4, 7, 8, 9? Why not have 10 super combos? It sounds fair to me, right? Run the 1 Champa because you have to. If you don't run Champa, then I don't know. I feel like every red deck should run this. Gogeta can kind of get around it because you got double strikers that you can just combo off. But every other red deck, you got to run Champa. All right, so we're going to get in the 1-drop package now. For the Android 18, what are they called? Starlight Assistants, I play for her and not for the Gohan because the Gohan is a 4K and she's a 5K. So in a pinch, if you need to combo something to swing and do some damage or P.E.K.K.A. Unison, she's able to at least get to 15k with like a super combo, or 10k early game. But I feel like a lot of leaders are just going to be at 15 like turn 2 now. And the cool part about all the 1-drops now is with the Gogeta, you can free play them at the beginning of your turn, just kind of get extra card advantage. Then you got her brother, the burst one that you can play for free, or if he's in your hand, you can either free play with Gogeta and draw a card, or just tap 1 draw card. I do run the Gohan because I'll show you why when I get to my Zenkai deck. Not only can you free play it off Gogeta, find a card, find your Unison. That's another reason why I like playing Gogeta in this now. You can find your Unison off of this and this. That's 7 different ways to search a Unison, and they're all top 5, which I think is pretty solid. But I'll explain why I run a Gohan in a little bit here. Now you get into like the regular package for Android 17. This is the double strike 15k guy that on swing can top 3 grab any U7. For Goku, it's a no-brainer. What's cool is with the Gogeta now, if you need to like additionally neg things or additionally play cards to get rid of the board, you can just free play like these guys. they're gonna come in rest mode, but if you have to really control the board and neg stuff off, it's easy to do. You can just literally free play it now. And then yeah, the Frieza. Well, the Goku, he's going to neg something, draw a card if it hits 0. The Frieza is going to be a neg something, and it's both by 15k. And he's a dual attack 19k, which is actually pretty solid. And then we go into the 2-drops. This is the Vegeta that ignores barrier, negs 2 things, 15, and draws a card. So, and he's critical. So I feel like in this format, a lot of things have barrier. Like when I play Gogeta, there's a lot of things that have barrier early game, and I just get frustrated with. This deck, you're not going to have as much of a problem with that because you're going to be able to go into like turn 3 or turn 2, even if you want to combo a couple cards and be able to play him and get rid of those barrier early game threats. I run 2 Divine Presence. I think this card is still really good. It's situational, but like against green, they just can't get rid of it.
I know you went really
and against blue, it's very good. What's that?
I know you went really back and forth on Divine Presence for a long time. Like, what made you finally like get sold on it?
So I feel like Divine Presence last format was a little rougher to play because everybody was playing yellow. So when you play Divine Presence against yellow, it's just going to get rested. So it's kind of a wasted card.
Gotcha.
But if you did play like the skillless package altogether, it was decent because you were able to at least get a draw off of him technically. But for me, this card comes in against blue and it comes in against green most of the time. Yeah. And I feel like there's a lot of blue in the meta. And it's just going to give them another card that they really can't deal with. They can deal with a lot of this other stuff with like Sensu Bean and all this other. That's why this whole format, you have to run extra stuff to either draw cards or give you additional combo power. Because every deck has Sensu Bean now. It's pretty ridiculous.
Gotcha.
But yeah, he's just solid for your blue or your green matches. I mean, if you know that they don't have something that can rest him, you can play him in yellow. You just have to really kind of take that risk. My newest addition, and honestly, I can't talk enough about this card. This card is one of my favorite cards that's ever come out. It doesn't seem like it does a whole lot on paper, but this card just puts in so much work. So this is the new SS4 Zeno Gogeta, technically. He's a 30k deflect, double strike. When you play him, you can neg 2 things. You can neg 2 things 30k, and your opponent warps a card. So this card just basically says, hey, you know what? I got 3 energy. I don't need to make a 4-drop play. And I got Violent Rays in hand. And you got some stuff on the board. And I know you're not going to negate. Like, this guy just cleans up a lot of stuff. I can't talk enough about this card. I really like it. And it's beautiful. Last card of the deck, obviously, the Vegeta Secret Rare. You're not going to run anything else but Vegeta Secret Rare. In this deck, you get the most potential off Vegeta because you can swing twice with him. But honestly, this card just became a 4-drop that clears the board and crits a life and puts your opponent in a really sticky situation to where the game's kind of more in your favor after you play the card. So that's the main deck. I'm going to get into the Zenkai deck now, and this is why I run the Gohan. We do run the Zenkai Vegetas. I would run 4, but I only have 3 right now. The Rush Attack Vegeta, this card is honestly one of the most broken cards ever printed. It's a 15k with deflect. You're probably going to play it around turn like 4 or 5 in this deck because you don't combo a whole lot, but you can force yourself. That's why I like to add all the different combo stuff. You can force yourself to do some combos and then you get your Vegetas live. I learned that as long as you have 5 Zenkai energy, this card is pretty much just live all game. But yeah, he's basically, you swing once, you neg something by 15k. It could either be a unison or a battle card. Then you restand him if you got 4 Zenkai energy. You swing again, he gets double strike, barrier, and I believe, what, 10k? Okay. Yeah. And he gets to neg something else again by 15. So this card in general is just snapped. But in this deck, since you have the Gogeta that can free play all these 1-drops, before you play this guy, you want to make sure your Gohan's on board. So when he swings, he combos a card and it becomes skillless. So it becomes a free extra draw off Gohan. So not only does this card neg 2 things 15k, basically 3 attack or 3 damage, and you get a draw if you got the Gohan on board, which is kind of like the added benefit.
It's pretty cheeky. I like that.
Of using the Gohan.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason why I run a Gohan. It's also just because another target for Gogeta to free play. I do run the 2 Defender of Life, the SS4 Gokus. These are for your blue matches. You just want to put them to 3 and just try to kill them. That's all this card does. This card says when you play blue, you play this, you put them to 3, and then that way if they demagic or anything else, they're at lethal. And the last card is the Vegeta Surmounting the Impossible. This card is just good if you're in a pinch and you're at too high a life total and you need to take an extra life and bottom deck a card, draw a card. I like this card. This card is really good in so many situations because if you're an aggressive player, this card generates advantage if you're being more aggressive. So I really like this card. I might even put it at 2.
Yeah, not so much in your deck, but I really like that Vegeta because, like, I play a lot of those decks where, you know, you have to be at 4 life to awaken, and your opponent will know that, and they'll just stop attacking you so you don't awaken until they want you to. But now you got the Vegeta, so you can be like, you know what, fuck off, I'm going to awaken now.
Vegeta is you can put yourself at, like, a testing the op range, or, you know, you can just figure out how to get to a certain life total you want to be at. Like, in U7, obviously you want to stay at a high life total, but some matches, I just want to grab all my cards and be aggressive. Yeah. And then we'll get into the side deck now, I guess, because why not? Put all this away here. Oh man, I bet I'm making people cringe with that. I love it. So this card is really cool. Shin Noble Supremacy. The way you beat Gogeta, I tested this deck. You guys are all asking me why this deck is good again. I think this deck is still good for many reasons. A, it's just a consistent red deck that spams a lot of little dudes. It's got good unison. It's got good defense. It's got a lot going for it. But this says, all right, I'm gonna stop Gogeta by playing this on their turn 3. You violent raise them, right? That stops their whole turn 3. They're not going to be able to literally do anything. They can swim with their leader in unison. That's fine. You play this on your turn 3, and it stops them from playing anything that's going to be like a Gogeta or a Vegeta, Secret Rare, anything like that from swinging and actually killing you. This basically just says I'm stopping Sin, and I'm stopping Gogeta from playing stupid stuff on me too early. And the cool part about this card with this deck is this is a U7 card. So if you mill it, it actually helps you. This card is really good. It's just a counter. I learned the power of this card at Gen Con. Playing against blue, playing against green, they rely on D-Magic and they rely on Dormant. And you bring that in against them and you basically just kill them. Because a lot of blue players, unless they're really seasoned, they're going to just take the life willy-nilly just because they want the more energy. And green players, like, when have you ever seen a green player tap for Dormant? You know, like, it's a very rare situation. People are just going to kind of blindly do it. And if you have it, you have it.
Against red, like, if I see the open, I will almost always just go, you know what, I'll just tap for it just in case.
Yeah, which is the smarter play to do, but it also forces them to tempo weird, you know?
Yeah. It fucks your whole turn up, but, you know, you do it.
But you do it just because.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I actually won a game with this guy. I was playing this blue player, and he was so frustrated. I played, like, 3 Broly Crowns on him in one turn. But, yeah, I went to go kill him, and he willy-nilly took the life, and he put himself to 2. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's not going to happen. King Vegeta Hidden Ambition. Here's my Champa and game. This card is your Sensu Bean. Like, late game, you need Sensu Bean now. Every deck needs Sensu Bean. I thought about main decking this, but I feel like Violent Raise is more important. And this deck, you're not leaving a whole lot of energy open, so you're gonna be able to just use this for free when you're in a pinch. I mean, you could technically, I guess, leave yourself open to do it early, but this deck just wants to go like, all right, turn 2, I play my Unison, or turn 2, I play these aggressive dudes, and you awaken by turn 3, and then from there on out, you're just basically tapping out every turn.
I think imposing is better main board if you're playing a 3-cost Unison because you're negging stuff a whole lot more.
Yeah. So we got the Wolfang Fist. I think this card is busted this format. Wolfang Fist is really good for all the yellow stuff right now because everything in yellow has barrier. This is really good against like the Sin match because you're going to be able to stop their cards from. You basically stop them from getting their effects off. You just neg their card before they can do anything. It stops this card, which is mostly why I play it, and it's in my sideboard because if you play red, red's going to play this card on you, and if you just Wolfang Fist it, it literally dies. So I learned around 3 of those. And then what you do is, since Yamcha is not so very good in this format, you can side out a Yamcha's and whatever other card you want and just throw the Wolfangs in. I got 2 more Broly Crown for the blue match, just because 4 Broly Crown is always what I aim for between the whole deck. This card is just too good against blue. If you play blue and you have 4 of these, they literally can't win, I feel. Like, I don't know, SS3 is like this deck that everybody's hyping up and like, oh my gosh, SS3 is the best deck. And it's like, if you run 4 Broly Crown, I don't know how you lose that deck. This is for annoying barrier things that you can't get rid of with like Vegeta, Slug, and all that other stuff because yellow brought back that card this format. So I feel like this card will never go away. It's a staple for the rest of the game. Blows up the whole board if you pay it for 3. It blows up everything 20k or less, which is actually pretty good this format. And if you just have 2, you can blow up something, neg something 25k annoying barrier. And the last 2 cards, man, I love this card. I'll never stop playing it. Koitsukai. I don't even need to say anything about this card. You play it against blue, you play it against yellow, you play it against green. Red doesn't really have much that they play on your turn anymore because we're using extra cards. But yeah, this card against every other color is like, oh, okay. And I feel like this card does so much work against the decks right now because there's a lot of decks that are just trying to generate more hand. And if you put them in a spot to where they can't, they have to either pass their turn or drop cards from their hand trying to defend your attacks. And that is the deck. I've tested it against everything except Sin, and I didn't lose any matches. I did lose the first game I played against Gogeta, but that's just because I was dumb and forgot about the 100. Z Awaken. But yeah, other than that, I haven't lost to any other deck. I've tested against everything except Sin and King Piccolo, and I feel like it's still a solid pick. So I'm excited for the anniversary support that we're getting with it. That Android 18 that you can negate from the drop area, play it, neg something 15k. I think that's pretty cool. So I'm happy Bandai is continuing to support this.
Well, hopefully soon we can get you some more testing in against that stuff. Have you played against the Turtle School deck with that yet?
I haven't yet, but I did play a couple of games with the Baby Unison against it. And that's when I realized I'm just not playing Baby Unison.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, me and you'll have to sit down and link up, and I'll play that against Turtle School, and we'll show everybody how it goes.
Yeah, I'm down, man.
But
whatever you want.
The deck looks super solid. I mean, I know you've been on it since from the second it got revealed, before even the whole set was revealed. You started playing the deck as soon as the leader was revealed.
Yeah, I definitely had a lot of fun with this deck. It's gonna be like my little side deck in case like my locals get really annoyed at this deck, because this deck is my new favorite thing. Like, nothing beats Gogeta in my opinion. This deck is insane. Like, I thought U7 was great. It's a very good solid deck still, I feel. But like, Gogeta does things that you can't ever reach in Goku, because just because of this card alone, the Z Awaken Leader. I don't have to fear Android turning the tide. I don't have to fear all these things that I did in this deck.
Right.
So that's what I'll probably still play this deck on the side. But yeah, for anybody who doesn't have the money to afford, Gogeta, and they still have their stuff from last set, don't be sleeping on this deck. It's still pretty good.
Yeah, when I think the deck still looks super, super good. I appreciate it, Josh. I know there's a bunch of people that are asking about it, and you wanted to get it out on a more important channel, but I'm glad we were able to knock it out here and get you set up.
Heck yeah, man! I'm glad you had me on here, and we'll do some testing with it this week.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Anybody wants to, let Josh or me, know what you think about the deck, just go ahead and drop some comments, some likes, and all that kind of stuff. And we'll see everybody next time.
Later, guys.